Good morning. The king of pop is dead. Thousands of fans have kept a vigil all night as they mourn Michael Jackson. An American icon who burst onto the pop scene as a child. And climbed into the stratosphere of superstardom like no other artist before him. Michael Jackson, dead at the age of 50. We'll look back at his unmatched musical legacy and eccentric life today, Friday, June 26, 2009.
From NBC News, this is a special edition of Today, the Death of Michael Jackson, with Matt Lauer, live in Studio 1A, and Meredith Vieira, live in Los Angeles.
And good morning, everyone. Welcome to a special edition of Today on a very somber Friday morning. I'm Matt Lauer in New York.
And I am Meredith Vieira in Los Angeles, outside of Grauman's Chinese Theater, where the mourners are streaming by his star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. You can see it behind me, all the flowers and the candles lit in tribute to Michael. And the tributes are pouring in around the world this morning, from Michael's boyhood home in Gary, Indiana, to the Jackson family home in Encino, California, and as far away as London, England, where he was planning his Come tour to begin there. The people are simply in a state of shock over Michael Jackson's death, Matt.
All right, Meredith, let's tell people what we know at this point. The 50-year-old was in Los Angeles rehearsing for a series of upcoming shows. They would have been his first live concert since back in 2001. Some felt they were a chance at a comeback he desperately needed. Michael Jackson went into cardiac arrest at his home in Holmby Hills, where his personal doctor tried to resuscitate him. Those attempts failed, and Michael Jackson was rushed to UCLA Medical Center, where he was pronounced dead about an hour later, Meredith.
Matt, Jackson's body is at the Los Angeles County Coroner's Office this morning, where an autopsy is planned for later today to determine the exact cause of death. Just ahead, we will talk about the circumstances surrounding his death with the longtime attorney for the Jackson family, who was with some of them at the hospital.
Also, we're going to look back, Meredith, at his remarkable career, and it was remarkable. And also, you have to talk about his unusual life. First of all, 750 million albums sold, 13 Grammy Awards. That Thriller album smashed global sales records. The videos he created to go along with his songs were revolutionary. And we're going to have much more on all of that throughout the morning, Meredith.
And also, Matt, we're going to be talking about Michael Jackson's death, of course, just as the Hollywood community was absorbing the news of the death of Farrah Fawcett, who lost her long and very public battle with cancer on Thursday. Two icons who defined their times, gone in one day. We will honor their legacies this morning. Let's begin with the tragic, untimely death of Michael Jackson. NBC's Lee Cowan is outside the LA County Coroner's Office with the very latest. Lee, good morning to you.
Well, good morning to you, Meredith. As you might imagine, this all moved very, very quickly yesterday. It was a very short drive from the home that Michael Jackson was renting near Beverly Hills to UCLA's medical center, but it appeared it was already too late. He was already in cardiac arrest when the paramedics arrived there, and before they took him on the way to the hospital. As you say, the autopsy will be performed here at the LA County Coroner's Office later on today to determine exactly what led to the pop star's untimely death. The race to save the king of pop was a valiant one. Pictures show the paramedics' frantic efforts during that 6-minute drive to UCLA's medical center. And once Michael Jackson arrived, his brother Jermaine says no one gave up.
A team of doctors, including emergency physicians and cardiologists, attempted to resuscitate him for a period of more than 1 hour, and they were unsuccessful.
Jackson's attorney was there with the family and could barely put their reaction into words.
Went up to him, we cried. We couldn't even speak to one another.
Jackson's body was choppered from UCLA to USC and then was unceremoniously loaded into a van and driven to the LA County Coroner's Office. The LAPD said it assigned its robbery and homicide division to investigate, but cautioned there was no hint of any wrongdoing.
Robbery homicide was assigned to this because of the high-profile nature of it. Don't read into anything as it relates to my team being here.
As the news spread, fans spontaneously joined together, many at the Jackson family home in Encino, California. These dancers were set to rehearse with Jackson Thursday, but learned of his death instead.
He's such the best entertainer that I know, and because of him I came to America.
The sidewalk outside the hospital quickly became a memorial too, a strange mix of grieving for a loss and celebrating a unique brand of music. At the Apollo Theater, where Jackson performed with his brothers back in 1969, fans poured into the streets. The Reverend Al Sharpton gave an impromptu eulogy, remembering a talented life, but an equally controversial one.
He talked about how many people had let him down, but I told him it didn't matter. He had never let the fans down.
Jackson had rehearsed only Wednesday at the Staples Center in downtown L.A. He was preparing for a strenuous 50-concert tour in London next month. Some questioned his physical readiness for such an endeavor, and there had been rumors that his addiction to drugs had returned. But for those who hadn't seen the reclusive Jackson in a while, when he announced his comeback back in March, many said he looked healthier than he'd been in a long time.
This is it. This is really it. This is the fight. This is the final curtain call.
But he never got the chance to take that final bow. Now again, the autopsy on Michael Jackson's body expected to be performed later on today. It's expected to also include a toxicology study, Meredith, so it could be some time before we know for sure. Meredith.
Lee, thank you very much. Brian Oxman is an attorney and also a family friend of the Jacksons. He was at the hospital yesterday when Michael passed away. Thank you so much for joining us, Brian. Again, we're so sorry.
It is my pleasure, Meredith.
For your loss. When did you first hear that something had happened to Michael?
I got a call from Randy Jackson's assistant.
Randy is his brother.
Randy is the youngest of the Jackson brothers. She told me that he was being taken to the hospital. I called Randy. I said, Randy, what's happening? He says, Brian, I don't know. I'm on the way to the hospital. I said, I'll see you there. And he said, this is serious. And then we hung up. I got to the hospital. Randy came a few minutes later. He walked in. We just hugged one another, and we cried in the emergency entrance. He couldn't speak, and I couldn't speak, Meredith. It was just devastating. He went into the next room. Jermaine came. I hugged Jermaine. I said, Jermaine. And he couldn't talk. He had tears running down his cheeks. And I knew what had happened. And then he went into the back room.
There has to be something quite surreal about that moment for all of you.
These people have been my friends, Meredith. I've known them for 20 years. I was there when their children were born. I was there when the ex-wives passed away, which was a terrible experience. And now I'm here when Michael passes away. They are my friends. I feel very connected to them. I defended them under the most adverse of circumstances because they were righteous, they were true, they were honest, and Michael never, ever committed a crime. He was innocent.
I want to talk to you about that because that trial in 2005 where he had been accused of child molestation and he was found not guilty of that. But do you think that took a lasting toll on him?
Oh, my goodness, Meredith, without question. It took a toll on me, and I am just trying to recover. I think hopefully now I am. I know that Michael was feeling that he is now recovering from that because he was an innocent man accused of such evil doings, and it bothered both of us. It bothered all of us. The result of it was that it took a long time, and he now was just starting to smile. He was starting to get back into the world of performing and entertainment. By gum, he was getting it together, and we were kind of proud of that.
But I know, Brian, you were also concerned. You talked about it publicly, about him possibly over-medicating, that he was on painkillers. Talked to the family about that. We do not know what caused his death, and I'm not trying to suggest that had anything to do with it, but did that cross your mind when you were in the hospital?
It was more than crossed my mind, Meredith. I had warned everyone. I said, one day we're going to have this experience. And when Anna Nicole Smith passed away, I said, we cannot have this kind of thing with Michael Jackson. The result was I warned everyone, and lo and behold, here we are. I don't know what caused his death, but I feared this day, and here we are.
Brian Oxman, we really appreciate your time here this morning. Again,
Meredith,
so sorry
thank you
for your
so
loss.
very much.
Thank you so much. We're going to turn now to Corey Feldman, a dear friend of Michael Jackson's. Corey, again, thank you for joining us this morning.